won't miss a step. The country is under the watchful eye of the international community, and while they're feeling the pressure of having to deliver in this moment, they also believe that the events that South Africa has hosted in the past has actually prepared them for this time. Now, yesterday what we saw happening in Parliament, Nikki, was a special sitting of the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces, and one of the ministers that paid a tribute to Madiba in his speech yesterday that really stood out was Minister Jeff Radebe. You know, Minister, I don't think that there was a single dry eye in Parliament yesterday when you went through the lyrics of Whitney Houston's I Look to You, you yourself getting quite emotional. What were you feeling in that moment?
It was a really emotional day yesterday, because as I was going through my speech, I was looking back at the time and life of Nelson Mandela, the role that he has played so that you and I are free in South Africa, the sacrifice that he made, breaking up his family by the apartheid regime, ensuring that the people of South Africa are free. So those moments, they were flashing in my mind. That's why I'm saying it was a highly, deeply emotional moment for me, because I knew him so well, and I hope that his soul rests in peace.
Minister, we look at the numbers of people that the single memorial has drawn, not only on the international stage, but also locally. People reverence Madiba. Do you think that they've been able to grasp the depth and the enormity of what he actually did and the significance of the role he played in the country?
Well, Madiba is not only our icon in South Africa, but is a global icon. As we're all saying, that is really a colossus, because he put the struggle of our people in South Africa all over the world, because our victory in 1994 was not only by South African people, but all people from all walks of life. The anti-apartheid movement in England, in Americas, in fact, entire world, because the issue of racism invokes a sense of disbelief and revulsion amongst ordinary men and women of the earth.
You know, Minister, I've just been told that members of the South African Springbok team have actually just arrived at the stadium. Again, another significant place to actually be holding this memorial.
Indeed, if you recall, in 1995, many South Africans, especially blacks, had a negative attitude against Springbok because of the system of apartheid. But Mandela, the leader, the global icon, made sure, as Danny Jordan was indicating in many times, that we need to build a new democratic society, a non-racial society. So we need to embrace white people in South Africa so that we can build a strong, united South Africa. So that moment in 1995, it changed the course of history.
You know, Minister, as a member of this country's cabinet, what are you feeling right now? Is there a sense of pride in the way that you've been able to manage everything around this, around Madiba's passing away till now?
Well, I feel that Mandela has spent 95 years, full 95 years. He has lived his life. He has made his mark in the world. It is indelible imprint that he has left into the DNA of South Africans. So I think we need to go on. We need to go on walking so that the freedom that he attained in '94 must be transformed into the economic emancipation of South Africa, so that you and I and all South Africans, black and white, must ensure that they benefit out of the victory of 1994.
Minister, lots of people only now slowly beginning to, process the fact that Madiba is gone, having gone through the initial shock of hearing the news. What about your own personal journey of actually accepting that he's no longer with us? How difficult has that been?
It is very difficult. One of my most emotional moments was on Thursday when his body was being taken off by the South African National Defence Force. That moment to me, it came to me to be realized that Madiba is really gone. But I'm still working it in my mind. But I think as revolutionaries, we need to take up his spear and go on with the struggle that he started.
What were the last moments that you shared with Madiba?
Well, I was with him on the 18th of July at the hospital in Pretoria on his 95th birthday with the family, the Madiba family, and Grasa, Mom Winnie, and the entirety of the family. My heart was so sore when I saw him. I want to cherish that moment that I saw him, but he was really in pain. But I think, as I've said, soldiers never die.
And speaking of the family, you know, have you been able to contact them? How are they doing in this time?
Well, at the moment it's very somber there in Gauteng. We've been there all the time except yesterday because I was in Parliament. But I think we need to give them our prayers, our thoughts, and ensuring that this also will pass.
Minister, your fondest memories of Madiba?
My real fondest memories of Madib was when he came to vote in my constituency in Durban, in Inanda, when he went to the graveyard of Dr. Langalibalele Dube to report that our people, for the first time in our history, we can be able to vote as black people. That moment touched me dearly. That's why I will ever cherish. The second one is when he came to be our guest of honor when I was getting married to my wife in 1997.
Everybody keeps talking about what a humble man Madiba was, that he didn't like anybody necessarily going out of their way or fussing over him. What would he have made of today's fuss?
Well, I'm sure he would have said the struggle goes on, as he always taught us, that when a soldier has fallen, we need to take their spear and continue the fight so that we have the total liberation in South Africa.
Minister, when we look at this moment and what it has done for South Africans, bringing people of all cultures, races together yet again, what should South Africans be taking out of this time?
I believe that the death and this memorial service and the funeral on Sunday, all South Africans must know that we have one common destiny. We need to entrench our democracy. We need to continue fighting for a non-sexist South Africa. We need to ensure as well that our country becomes prosperous. We need to continue to be united in our diversity. So the goal of that society of our dreams in South Africa, the real rainbow nation, I think, is there for all to see.
Thank you so much, Minister Jeff Radebe.